Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a book review. Oh, I feel like I don't have that much energy today. I am drinking a smoothie that I made. Not as good as a store because you know how much sugar they put in that stuff. This does not have any real sugar, which is so sad. I am using my new little glass thing. If you don't watch my book unboxings, this came in one of the book unboxings, I think unplugs. But I freaking love this thing, even though it says coffee. I don't drink that much coffee, so I put my smoothie in it instead, and it works really well. Anyway, what you're here for, we're going to be doing a book review of A Dowry of Blood. I don't know where to start with this. I don't know where to start with this because I feel very strange about it. Like, I can't 1000% tell you exactly how I feel about it. A Dowry of Blood is actually following mainly the main wife of Dracula, even though Dracula's never said in this. I was expecting to like hear his name in this a few times, but his name is never said. He's always referred to as you. We are following his first wife and then the rest of his spouses. So it is like a polyamorous. See, it's weird because when I think about polyamorous, I think of romances, and I feel uncomfortable talking about this in a romantic setting. So I'm like, it is a polyamorous relationship though. So it is the main wife who we're following plus another wife and a husband. And it is a very interesting dynamic, and I actually love how the book is told. It's very interesting. So if you don't know, if you haven't read Dracula is told in like letter form, and it's kind of how this is told. This is more of diary form, and it's one person, and it's intense. It legitimately feels like you found someone's private diary or someone's letters, and it is just every emotion, every dark thought, every intimate detail that's happening regarding Dracula from her point of view. And it is intense. It is intense because this book is first and foremost a book about abuse. So if you do not like anything, well, I guess do not like, but because no one likes that stuff. But if you have any triggers about emotional, physical, I don't know as much sexual abuse, but mostly emotional, especially emotional, and then a little bit of physical abuse, do not read this. Do not read this. Although its main goal is the brides, because all three of them are considered brides of Dracula, getting away. So the point is they're trying to get away at the very, very end. Not a spoiler, that's just kind of what you know. So like I said, we're following our main character. Her name is Constanta. I don't know how to say it out loud. I read it perfectly in my head. Like, it makes sense in my head, but for some reason when I try and say it out loud, it sounds weird. But we're following her, and she refers to Dracula as you only. She even says, I will never say your name again. I will never in writing, out loud, in my head, nothing. I will never say your name again because it wasted so much time of my life. And it's just this back and forth, and he's already gone. You don't know what's happened to him, and I won't say what happened to him, but he's already gone when this starts. It's basically her like writing to him as letters, explaining everything from her point of view. And it is so heartbreaking and interesting and just so much because it's just raw. And it's this complicated relationship of, yes, she's in love with him, but the love that she has for him and the love that he has for her is going to kill her, because it's not a self-sacrificing love. It is a possessive, aggressive, all-encompassing love that just needs to chill. So it's too possessive, it's too all-encompassing, basically. And it's just hard. It's hard to read some of these parts. It does go by really, really fast because it's in this format. Like, some of the pages look like this. Like, that's the whole page. And then at the end of these little mini chapters, there's whole blank pages. So it says it's like 292 pages, but it's really probably like 30, maybe even less than that. So this is a very quick book to get through, and because it reads very sequentially. So it is very, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. So I do enjoy that a lot. And there's just this sense of foreboding because you're leading up to something at the end. You just don't know exactly what you're leading up to. So for me, I gave this a 3.5. The reason I gave it a 3.5 is because, number one, I really don't normally enjoy books about any type of spousal abuse. It's not something I enjoy reading. I like domestic thrillers, but if there's too much spousal abuse, it's not my cup of tea. This did it in a way that I could stomach it. It was still a lot, but it felt more like female empowerment than about the abuse, which is what I would want to read in a story like this. The problem, and why it gets a 3.5, is number one, the epilogue. There's an epilogue in this. It does not need to exist. It just, get rid of it. It's from a different perspective. It kind of breaks how the book feels, because this book goes up through like the 18 or 1900s. And I don't think 1900s yet. I think 1800s. But I'm not like 100% sure where it goes up to. But the epilogue seems to be current because he says he has a mic. And I'm like, it just kind of breaks this old school feeling of this book. And then it ends with this graphic sex scene. And I was like, I don't know. I don't like when you mix romance into a book entirely about heartbreaking spousal abuse, etc. So for me, that just felt super weird. It felt super weird. I felt like the true ending of the book is before the epilogue, and it ended in this note of like hopefulness and empowerment for abused people, because I said female empowerment, but there's also a male husband, so I want all people empowerment. And that epilogue just really killed me. Like, it was not good. It was not good. It should not have been included. We did not need it. And I would say it was a 4 until that epilogue. So if you take the epilogue out, it's probably a 4. At the same time, I do wish I had learned, because of the diary format and how short it was, you really didn't get to know the characters super, super well. So a lot of people were just introduced and she tells you a lot of things. You don't really feel a lot of emotion behind the things happening as much as I would kind of want to. So you don't have the other wife's point of view and you don't have the husband's point of view. And so you're missing like this aspect of the story, and you also don't have Dracula's point of view, so you're missing his side, which I don't think I really wanted his side anyway. So I think it would have been nice to have the other spouse's point of view, maybe. I don't know. There's something that just felt missing in this book, but not to the extent that I would rate it lower than a 4 if it weren't for that epilogue. The epilogue was just so not good. So my other thing is, this is a weird one. So I know it's 100% not romance. I feel like a lot of people went into this accidentally thinking it was a romance because it was tagged as like a polyamorous relationship kind of thing, but that's not really the point. Like, the sex and the relationship is the point, but the sex is not. The family aspect of the relationship is the point of this book. And I feel like a lot of people went into this thinking this was going to be like a Dracula polyamorous relationship thing going on, and it is not. Like, that is not what it's supposed to be. So I feel like some people may have read it like that. Definitely not that. It is not a romance. Not a romance, not the point. It's empowerment, getting away from abusers, and found family situation kind of going on. And then I think it's supposed to be a horror. And there's definitely some horrific aspects in this, but I don't know if I would classify it as a horror. But my understanding of the horror genre is very limited compared to other people. So I feel like this is going to be one of those books that falls in the line between two genres. So part of this is horror, and then the other part to me is fiction literature. exploration of relationships, exploration of abuse, exploration of just response to things happening. That's kind of how I felt about it. Like, I definitely felt it was more fiction literature with some horrific aspects to it. So I feel like it's one of those complicated books because you don't know which genre to put it in, so it gets like confusing because I'm like, am I supposed to be reading a horror? Am I supposed to be reading fiction literature? So it just messes with my head because my head likes to categorize things. That's just how it is. But I would say it falls in between. I would say it falls in between because there's nothing in there that made me go and that's just what I think of when I think of horror, I guess. So like I said, my understanding of horror is very, very limited to what I've read, and most of the stuff I've read in horror is one that makes you go, so that's a beautiful face. Anyway, I really did enjoy this though. This took me only about a day to read. It was very fast-paced, very interesting, very different than what I was expecting, which is pretty exciting because I really needed something different after reading a million thrillers for the Goodreads thriller thing that's up. But dang, yeah, this kind of got me out of it and moved me into a different genre outside of thrillers. So I enjoyed it. I would say give it a whirl. Definitely watch those triggers because it's the point is the abuse in it. So if you have any issues with abuse, do not read this. Do not read this because it'll probably be too much. It'll probably be too much because it's all encompassing in there. So anyway, that's what I thought about the book. Make sure you subscribe for more book reviews. I will be putting out probably a lot because I got a lot I want to get through. So I keep saying that and then I end up not putting any out, so whatever. But I plan on putting a bunch out. I have at least 2 coming out. Anyway, make sure you like the video and make sure you comment down below what you thought about the book. I'm really curious what other people thought about this book because I've seen like the Goodreads rating, which is really high, but I haven't seen any like people really talk about it. So I would love to see what you guys think about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.